Hey guys, Dan Lucchesi here with the Lucchesi Property Group, and I wanted to talk to you guys about a topic today that's kind of become aware in my awareness. I'm always seeing the trends in the market and seeing what's going on, and there's a very obvious trend that we're seeing here in the Denver market, but that really affects the Front Range of Colorado. So. Um, We've had a number of listings sort of in the foothills, and they've attracted a lot of interest, and buyers are specifically communicating that they're interested in it for short-term vacation rental, and they're investors, and that's what they're looking at. And we've seen this as a growing trend, and our guest today, who I'll introduce in a moment, happens to know a little bit about this, and I knew him and wanted to bring him in to help me communicate to you guys what I see as probably one of the best opportunities on the Front Range of Colorado right now if you are looking to build your wealth, invest in real estate, and grow your net worth. So with that, I'd like to introduce Bryan Looney with iTrip Vacations. And Bryan and I have known each other for what, like a year and a half, I guess? Something like that, 2 years, yeah. And iTrip Vacations specializes in short-term vacation rentals in the management and I guess bookings of short-term vacation rentals. Mm-hmm. And so we're going to talk a little bit more today. I'll let Bryan kind of tell you a little bit about himself through the process. I've got a few questions we'll go over, and look forward to imparting some knowledge onto these guys.
Sure. Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So iTrip Vacations Denver is a property management company that deals solely with short-term rentals. We do handle some midterm stays up to 180 days, but we mostly focus on the stays between 1 and 29 nights. Our area is Metro Denver and the immediate foothills up to Georgetown.
Okay. All right. So out to Georgetown.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Okay. Well, why don't you start by just helping everyone, if you could explain what short-term rental is.
Sure.
How do you define that?
So when people look at rental properties, they're mostly looking at long-term rental, which is a 12-month lease, where someone signs and they're committed for 12 months worth of rent.
Okay.
A short-term rental property is 1 night to 29 nights. That's defined by the IRS.
Okay.
Okay, where the tenant or guest, it's really not a tenant, but they're rather a guest, pays for a certain nightly fee, then they'll pay area tax, a cleaning fee, and then a transaction fee.
Okay, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So what is a full service short term rental management versus like property management? How do they differ?
So there's a number of different types of short term rental managers out there. So there is full service, which what we are, okay? But there's also what you call marketing.
Okay.
All right, where they just post your property on platforms. And a platform is Airbnb, VRBO, Booking.com, and soon to be Google, and soon to be Amazon.
Interesting.
Yes, yeah, they're going to directly compete with Airbnb and VRBO. All right, there's also Flipkey and Travel Advisor also.
Okay.
And there are some other smaller sites that deal with specialty sports. There's a ski one called Utopia, where they deal with skiing properties, where they'd be around the mountains, ski in, ski out, or close to mountains, where the people would post for the skiers.
Okay. Yeah.
So what we do is we actually have 7 platforms. Okay, so we would actually take photographs. We would write a copy of why your home is so beautiful and why someone should rent it, and then we post it on the 7 platforms. We really load it up to our iTrip system, which then pushes it out to the 7 platforms. So
so it's like a syndication.
Yeah, it does. It goes to VRBO and the rest, and then that spiders out to 85 websites.
Wow.
Okay, yeah, so you have a global presence. Pre-COVID, about a third of our guests were overseas, a lot of people from Australia. So VRBO actually owns about 60 websites.
Okay,
One of them
that
is
most people didn't realize.
Yeah, I know. And one of them was actually in Australia called Stayz, S-T-A-Y-Z.
Okay.
And that's the Airbnb of Australia. So we had a huge amount of Australians in 2019 come visit Colorado, 2018. And we had a lot of expats who were actually officed and lived in the Middle East. A lot of Germans, a lot of English. and they actually came to Colorado instead of going home when they wanted to go on vacation.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
it's
not funny.
quite that. Yeah. So with that, so what a marketing company does, they don't have the true back office services that you need
Right.
to run a property. So what full service is basically if you have a home, say in Idaho Springs, and you want us to represent you, you literally give us the keys to the home.
Got
Okay.
it.
And then we'll put an electronic lock on the front door where you would actually get a code. I'd have a code. The cleaner would have a code, and then every guest gets their own unique code. Okay, and
Oh,
we have a
wow.
log of who
Okay.
comes in and out of the property, which is really good for safety. Okay,
Sure.
and then we would actually handle all the bookings, all the guest services, all the contractors, including if there was a major repair, furnace, roofing, driveway. We would handle it. All right, and then hand you the bill. Okay?
So who in that situation, who gets the call when there's a problem? Like the guest staying there and the electricity goes out or the furnace quits working. Who gets that call?
We do.
Okay.
A full service manager would get the call. The marketing manager would not get the call. The owner
Gotcha.
would get that call. So again, you're actually paying for what you get. So a marketing manager's commission is 10%. Okay.
Gotcha.
A full service is between 20 and 40%.
Okay.
Okay. iTrip Denver is 25%, pretty flat. We don't go below 25. We don't go above 25. We're pretty much flat no matter where it is in the
Sure.
Denver metro area. Now with that, if you go with the marketing person because you look, I'm going to say 15%, but then you get a couple phone calls at 1:30 in the morning. You realize that 15% is pretty cheap. So
You start seeing what you pay for.
got it. Exactly. So full service is the way to go.
Gotcha.
Recently we had a beautiful home up in Idaho Springs that had a hickory floor in the kitchen, and the washer leaked.
Oh,
So the hickory floor buckled. So, and we probably had, out of 30 days in the month, I think we had about 22 booked. But we did the service in between the stays, kept the revenue going,
wow.
right? Talked to the guests, saying,
Yeah.
hey, it's under repair, no problem, it's not going to involve your stay at all, not going to hamper your stay at all. And it was fine.
Wow.
Yeah.
So your contractors, I imagine part of the service that you provide is having good go-to contractors that you build that relationship with that are willing to do
Yes.
something like put in 2-3 days worth of work and then leave
Then
it
leave
the
it and
project
come
for
back.
3 more days and then come back. That's got to be
Yes.
tough to build
Yeah.
that relationship.
Yeah,
to
with
that
any
point.
short-term rental, there's two things you need. You need a good cleaner, right? Responsible cleaner and a good handyman. Okay, and then you need the pool of vendors. You need that appliance guy, you need that floor guy that can come in and then work with you in between guests. Yeah, but the first two, you need that cleaner and you need that handyman. The handyman is key because of the snow or something simple that would hamper stay can get
Right.
fixed quickly, and then the cleaner is that's your number one priority, because any kind of dirty kitchen or bathroom, that leads to a 1-star review.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you commented on the reviews. How important is that to the success of a vacation rental program?
It's everything.
Okay.
So with Airbnb, they actually will give you a warning if you're at 4 stars or lower.
Wow.
Yeah. In fact, they'll suspend your property if you are the lowest 10% of the area rental. So you will actually get pulled from their platform.
Wow.
Yeah. Yes. So we're actually at 4.8 on Airbnb. We're actually closer to a 5.0 on VRBO. So we have great cleaners, and what we do with cleaners is you manage them like everybody else. You make sure they have enough work, but you don't work them too much. You want them
Right.
fresh when they show up to the property. You want them attention to detail because they're the first eyes and ears. So they're the first person to tell me that there's something wrong, or
Sure.
you got it.
Yeah.
So like the washer, right?
Mhm.
The cleaner told me,
Yeah.
or if it was something else, such as the heat's not working or the fireplace,
Yeah.
the gas fireplace is not working. They're the first ones to notice, and you want to train them correctly and you want to keep them
Yeah.
because they'll get stronger and stronger. Okay.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. So we actually have our own cleaners, and we partner with some cleaning companies, but we mostly use our own cleaners.
Okay.
Mhm.
Nice. So I guess, do you believe that short-term rental generates more net income, for the same property than long-term rental does?
Yes. So from a gross perspective, you're probably going to yield 2 to 3 times more
Okay.
than you would if you had a monthly 12-month lease. Okay. Your gross depends on the manager that you have. All right. So we run a very lean ship. So we have a 25% commission rate, but we don't charge maintenance. The first half hour from iTrip Denver is free. So if it's turning its screw to tighten something so it's not leaking, or actually filter changing or light bulbs, we don't charge trip fee, we don't charge anything like that, okay? If it's beyond 30 minutes, I will call the owner and say there's a problem here, we should probably bring in a contractor, or we can do it, but here our hourly rate is $45 an hour.
Sure.
Okay, so either we do it or a contractor will come in. And we can use, the owner may have their own contractors, or they can use ours.
I see.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right. Well, what are the market conditions like for short-term rental in kind of Denver and the foothills, the surrounding foothills?
So there's actually more supply than there's more demand. Excuse me, let me check that. There's more demand than supply.
Okay.
Okay. So we can talk post-COVID in a little bit, but right now we're at, in October and April are your slowest months, and we are heading towards 80% occupancy in all our properties for the month of October, which is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay. And this summer,
so 80% of the nights are booked.
Are booked.
Wow.
Are booked, and it's heading that way. And it's will probably be higher than that, but the next couple of weeks. The booking window, right, where people usually look to book, pre-COVID was like 150 days. Now it's less than 30. So we have people, we have people booking on Monday to check in on Friday. That's because they want to get away, and it's all local.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It
So
is.
you've watched that shift.
Yeah.
As COVID has kind of come and
Absolutely.
stayed.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Year over year, with the same amount of properties in Metro Denver, I'm not talking the foothills. We've added quite a few properties in the foothills compared to Denver. We're up 40%.
Wow.
Yeah. So year over year. So it's apples to apples. The business is very much growing, and it's going to continue to grow.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's incredible. So, if an investor is listening to this now and it's kind of raising their interest, where would you say are the areas where you're seeing the best return on investment for somebody?
It depends on the property. Denver's the shiniest apple in the tree.
Okay.
If you can have a short-term rental in the Denver metro area, Denver County, that would be your best bet. They also have the strictest guidelines.
Okay.
So you want to do it legally. We don't represent any properties that cannot get a permit. So you want to get a permit to the city, and you'll run your short-term rental. It'll be highly profitable. An A-frame apartment over a garage could reach 40,000 gross.
Wow.
Yeah. If you have a basement apartment, depending on what part of the city, I did numbers for a lady in Cherry Creek, and I had her first year gross at about 35,000.
Wow.
For a basement apartment.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so she was actually occupying the upper floor.
She lived upstairs, and then she actually ran downstairs. Now with that, you want your entrance to be secluded from the home, but part of the home. You want your guests to come and go, and you will never notice them. And then they for you can come and go without that.
Right.
Guests want touchless service now. They don't want to meet the owner anymore.
Right.
They just want to come in, code themselves in, have their stay, and leave. That's what you want to do.
Sure. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. That's good. That's good to know. And what about the foothills? Tell us a little bit more about some of the properties you've picked up in the foothills and what that market looks like.
So Clear Creek County, Gilpin County, and Boulder County are much different than Summit. So traditionally, Summit County is skiing. Mm-hmm. So their season is from New Year's Day to towards the end of March, and that's where you will actually make most of your revenue.
Sure.
You'll probably have 90 days, but your average daily rate is very large. Okay.
Yeah.
Where in Clear Creek County or Gilpin, you don't get that average daily rate, but the season is actually 12 months.
Really?
Yes.
All year round.
All year round. There's so much to do, and then you have proximity to the Denver airport.
Sure.
So people look to stay in Clear Creek County. Idaho Springs is a fantastic market. Georgetown is a fantastic market.
So are you finding that the guests that are staying in Gilpin and Clear Creek counties, are they just choosing to stay a little further away from the skiing, and that's what they're doing, or are they doing all kinds of recreation?
In the ski season, Clear Creek County, Idaho Springs, and Georgetown are looked at as a low-cost alternative to Summit.
Okay,
Okay,
sure.
so the nightly rates in Frisco or in Keystone and Copper, you know, they can't compete against Georgetown. So people would take that 20-minute extra ride to stay in Georgetown. Sure. And Georgetown has changed so much. They have a lot of fantastic restaurants and stuff. So it's an easy stay. And same with Idaho Springs. Okay, in the summertime, there's so much to do in Clear Creek County and Gilpin County with the rafting and the biking and the hiking. Sure. It just draws to themselves. They're going to Gilpin County because they want to go to Gilpin County.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So it's recreation driven now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. So you touched a little bit about you touched on this a little bit, but tell us a little bit more about what influence COVID-19 has had and is continuing to have on the market for short-term rental, and how long do you think that might that impact might last?
That's a great question. Let's talk about the industry itself. So short-term rentals were actually growing pretty fast before COVID.
Sure.
Okay, and since then, people don't want to stay in urban areas and have someone else drive their hygiene. Okay.
Sure.
So hotels are taking a huge hit.
Sure.
I think New York City right now has 600,000 extra hotel rooms that are not needed any longer.
Wow.
Yeah, just think of that to put it in perspective. So people are gravitating to short-term rentals. So what we do with our short-term rentals is we have a COVID cleaning process. We use a disinfectant. We send all linens, bedding, and towels out to be professionally cleaned every turn. Sure. So we've asked our owners to triple on their bedding. Usually we take out the bedding every 2 weeks, not anymore. Every clean, the bedding gets pulled and gets sent down and gets cleaned. We've also asked our cleaners to move away from a dry clean product to more of a machine wash to make it easier.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, so it's just tactically easier. So we do that.
Yeah.
Okay. And then back to the disinfectants, we use disinfectant on all touch points, all counters, all knobs, all switches, doorknobs, everything gets a clean, and then we leave disinfectant for the guest, either Lysol spray or an Odoban product. We cannot leave Lysol wipes; they are not available. So we were leaving Lysol wipes, but you can't buy them. So basically, we leave that type of disinfectant there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So and how is it? Did you guys see an initial impact where bookings just kind of turned off when COVID first hit, and what does that look like now?
April was an absolute nightmare.
Yeah.
It was where was this industry going to make it? So the national companies such as Vacasa, they laid off 75% of their workforce.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then Stay Alfred was another national company. They shut down.
Wow.
Yeah, just shut down. And I think they kind of overreacted, but at the time, no one had a real crystal ball where we're going with this. But around mid-May and then Memorial Day, the faucet just turned on and has not shut off. So just to put it in perspective, Memorial Day, we had 2 properties booked as of the Monday before Memorial Day. By the Thursday, we were all booked. Wow. And it had not stopped. So it just,
So approximately the course of 2 weeks, you went from very few bookings in your portfolio to we're full. We got nothing left.
Got nothing left. People were asking for a wait list.
Wow.
Yes, it was that fast. Yeah. So right now,
what changed? Do you remember at that time what may have happened? Was it the loosening of restrictions or what?
Yeah, exactly.
People felt like let's go take that vacation.
Post-quarantine summer.
Yeah.
And next summer may not be as good, but it's going to be a lot better than it was in 2019.
Yeah, because I think what I heard you say in our conversation is that the hotel industry is really suffering because people are less comfortable with them. I think there's a lack of trust that the place is being cleaned,
lack of control
with care and diligence.
With a short-term rental, you have control over where you're staying. You have the disinfectant in house. You have a washer and dryer yourself, and you can actually just wash your own clothes or even wash the sheets and linens you want. I've had guests bring their own linens and towels. Yeah, they don't use, but we have a very good cleaning process.
Good.
Yeah.
So, Brian, what are some of the municipal regulations that you see come into effect that affect short-term rental, and maybe a little bit about how that might differ from, say, Denver to the foothills to even some of the surrounding communities?
Even Jefferson County.
Sure, yeah.
So Denver has one of the more stricter guidelines in the country, and they also have one of the more robust processes. So they have full-time people who actually manage short-term rental licensing in the city.
Oh, okay.
Sure. And then they actually back it up with technology. So they can actually count nights someone's renting. Okay.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. Now with that, I would not be afraid to look at Denver, because at the end of the day, the governments, and particularly the courts, don't want to hamper an individual from making income.
Sure.
Okay. So I would actually, this is how I coach my clients. Follow the regulations, but know the regulations. So
Right.
I've had a lot of people come to me in Jefferson County, and then walk away saying it's just illegal. Short-term rentals in Jefferson County are legal. They're rewriting the code right now, and the code that's actually there is not being adhered to. It's actually suspended. Yeah. So right now it's pretty much an open market.
Okay.
Okay.
So there's essentially no regulation.
There's no regulation,
right now in
right
Jefferson
there.
Okay.
Now, certain municipalities such as downtown Littleton or downtown Golden have regulations for short-term rentals that are just as strict as Denver. But that's only a small part of their town. Most of their town is county. So Littleton
Right.
has a very strict ordinance on short-term rentals, and basically they don't want any whole home, meaning if the owner is not his primary residence, they don't want that
Sure.
rented, okay, short term. But Littleton is a very small part of Littleton. Most of Littleton is Jefferson County.
Right. Sure.
So, and people don't understand that. So they
Yeah.
they want to understand, basically follow the rules but know the rules, right?
Right.
And same with Denver. So if we want to look at, we'll talk about markets later, and just to go back, anything along the 470 loop, right, where Littleton is,
Sure.
that's a fantastic market, because you have the foothills, but also Red Rocks and the
Right.
Speedway,
Right.
And then 70, which takes
Yeah.
you further west. So that's an awesome market. And then Golden, that part of Golden, Lookout Mountain, or heading towards Genesee, that's a very good market too.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. So what are some special considerations for the would-be investor who's listening to this to be aware of when they're purchasing a property that they're planning on doing short-term rental?
So you want to keep your spend to about 400 to 600,000.
Okay.
The lower you go, the more investment you have to do to fix it. You have
Okay.
to electrical or lawn work, or
The roof's got problems.
you got it.
Yeah.
You know the market better than I do,
Sure.
right? But don't be afraid to purchase a $600,000 home, because you would make some significant revenue
Okay.
given the market. So anything between 400 and 600.
That's
I'd
kind
keep
of
it.
a
Yeah,
good sweet
I'd
spot.
keep it between 2 and 4 bedrooms. Anything bigger, it's harder to book. You want today's traveler is very flexible, and they want their party to be flexible. So keep it between 2 and 8 people.
Okay.
That's all you really
Sure.
need. Yeah. To maximize revenue. Sure, you don't need that big home.
Right.
More guests does not mean more revenue. More
Right.
guests mean more problems.
Yeah.
So and we're pretty strict. So Clear Creek County does not allow any short-term rental to have more than 8 people, and we follow that.
Yeah.
And that's a great idea. If I have a mom call me up and she said, we're having a family reunion and there's 10 of us, but 2 of them are 8 and 6, I'll let that go.
Sure.
Okay. But other than that, we keep it strictly to 8, and that's pretty good. It's easier on the cleaner. It's easier on the property.
Sure.
Have your when you're actually purchasing, look at amenities around the area.
Okay.
Look at the roads in the wintertime. Okay. You want to make sure they're serviced. Other than that, you want to have good appliances. You don't want to have anything breaking down.
Right.
Right. And buying a scratch and dent, for $350 solves a lot of problems in the first year. It really does. Getting that old unit out and putting something in.
Right.
And you don't have to spend a lot of money. The only thing you really want to buy new is your bedding, your linens, and your towels. After that, you can get creative. So you can get that used refrigerator or the washing machine, but you want to make sure they work, okay?
Right.
And have
Of course.
be of good quality.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, that makes sense. So, what are the top 5 amenities that you see guests searching for when they're going on and booking?
So in Denver, we live in a desert, right? But people don't realize the temperature drops so much at night. So air conditioning is always a want.
Right.
Yeah, they always want to have AC. They don't want to open a window.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's always number one. Then after that is strong internet, right?
Okay.
Especially now after COVID, we're having so many traveling workers that are staying for 13, 25 days, right? They need that strong internet for their Zoom calls. So definitely strong internet. And then a hot tub. People would like a hot tub. And we can talk about amenities that add average daily rate, but a hot tub adds $25 to $40 a night. So you can pick up a used hot tub, $2,500 you pay for it in the first year. So think of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you're in the foothills, I coach my clients not to go used, but to actually go to something like Arctic Spas. That's a very high quality. It's made in Canada and made for a Colorado winter. You want that. Yeah. But in Denver, you can get creative. You can go to Master Spa or something like that. And be pretty affordable.
Yeah. Okay.
And then you add a lot to your average daily rate. Okay.
What do you think? What would you say number 4 and number 5 on the list would be?
Parking.
Okay.
You actually want to be able to have parking, and you also want to put a limit on your cars. Tell your guests. You have 4 people, you're allowed 2 cars, right? Or even 1 car. Right. Okay, you don't want 4 cars showing up. Or if you have 8 people, you definitely don't want 8 cars showing up. Right. So limit the cars. Make sure the guests know you should only have so many cars. And then last is washer and dryers. They want to be able to wash their clothes, and basically have that autonomy that they don't have when they're traveling in a hotel.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Okay. So Bryan, do you find that through iTrip and the marketing you guys do and your booking platform that you're actually able to help owners increase the revenue and thus increase their net income even after hiring your services?
Oh yes. So what a homeowner wants to do is to know their market. Okay, and the way we know our market is we actually set up a comp set or a comparison set. Mm-hmm. And what that does is you can see what homes much like yours are in the market. Right. So let's go back to Cherry Creek. So if I have a 3-bedroom in Cherry Creek, I would find 2 to 3 to 4 bedroom around the area that you're in, and I would actually load those up into our system. Okay, so we would track those homes.
Okay. So it's not just a one-time snapshot, but it's actively tracking those. If they do something with their pricing, then you know about it.
And we track our pricing weekly. Okay. So we actually review pricing every Friday, and we look at it, and then because believe it or not, Sundays are the internet shopping day. So before any changes to any property, you want to make sure it's done before Sunday. Okay. So when people's looking at it, the fresh price or the price you want is there. If you're raising or lowering it, we make sure that's happening. We also have a dynamic pricing model where we would attach. We have a certain schematics that we would follow, or algorithms that we would follow. Okay. That for certain aggressiveness for pricing. So if your home is unoccupied 3 days before check-in, you drop the price 15%. Okay. Conversely, if someone's looking to book a home 120 or 180 days out, we would actually raise it 30%. Wow. So it would maximize the revenue. Yes.
So pre-booking maybe not the best strategy for the consumer, but it's definitely
it's an advantage. It's an advantage also. Yeah. And you want to constantly be looking for prices. So I've actually found comps where the homeowner is self-managing and they have a flat price throughout the year, right? So they have the same price in April as they do in July. Right. So if you're getting bookings in April with that price, you should be doubling it in July because the demand is that much.
So they're just missing the opportunity,
leaving a lot of money on the table. Yeah, yes. Sure. So that's what we would bring. And now all of our iTrip properties, we look at the average mean that the areas bring. All our prices are above the mean, and we got our bookings. So we understand that the people are looking at other short-term rentals as competitors, so they're automatically lowering their rate. There is no competition. There's more demand than supply. Right. So I wouldn't look at the short-term rental down the street as your competitor because there's always going to be 6 people looking at 2 homes. Right. That's the way the market is today.
Mm-hmm. I have to imagine that because you talked a little bit about the customer service aspect and making sure that the reviews are always maximized. I think you said that was like one of the most critical aspects of being successful at this, I have to imagine that also has a positive impact, and maybe in the way that Airbnb or some of those platforms show the bookings, that if you have high ratings, that's going to help versus if you have mediocre ratings.
Your rating is everything. So if with Airbnb, you get a warning letter if it's 4 stars or less.
Okay. Yeah.
They want 5-star properties, and actually, what they do if you are within the 10% lowest rating of your area, they'll suspend your property.
Wow.
Yeah. So 5 stars are key. So iTrip Denver is actually 4.8 on Airbnb. We're almost a 5.0 on VRBO.
Nice.
Okay, so we have a good process. We have good marketing, and we have very good contractors and excellent cleaners.
Yeah.
And the cleaner's the first step into the 5-star review.
Perfect. Excellent. So how does an owner know that they're maximizing revenue for an average daily rate that they charge?
Again, you want to be reviewing your pricing, and you want to look at your comps, but also you want to look at your bookings. So if you're booked out into January, and right now it's September, right? You have actually your price is too low. Your average daily rate's too low. Raise it.
Right.
You want to be looking out. In today's booking window, given with COVID, it's probably less than 30 days. Okay, we get a lot of bookings for Mondays. Again, I may have mentioned this before, but we get a lot of bookings from Monday to check-in on Friday.
Yeah.
So don't be afraid to keep your prices high. Okay. Yeah. But you do want to look at your bookings, and you probably want to have a 21-day view. Okay, if you're not booked out 14 days, you may want to lower it a little. Right, you probably or even 21 days, but I would not go beyond 30.
Okay.
Do not go beyond 30. I would leave October pricing high, November pricing high. And as your bookings increase, you have the right price, or even raise your price. And if you don't have bookings, then lower it. Okay,
right.
And continually look at your comps. All right, refresh your comps, because short-term rentals is kind of a perishable commodity. Some people sell their properties, other people just don't want to do it anymore, or other people, have a relative move in, so they stop doing it. So you want to make sure you have comps. Now, and in your comparisons, you want to have 6 to 9 comparisons to get a good snapshot of the area.
Okay. All right. Excellent. Tell us how you guys respond to the peak season versus the shoulder season.
So during the peak season, it's pretty easy. That's when you have your highest prices. That's when you're going to get your bookings, and that's when you're maximizing. You actually want to price yourself above your comps.
Right.
All right. The shoulder season is the slowest season, and that's if you want to look at the months. January and February are pretty good. March is sold out. April is extremely slow. That's a true shoulder.
Sure.
May starts to ramp up. June really starts to ramp up. July, August, you're sold out. September, you're probably sold out. October starts coming down. That's another shoulder. So what we do with April and October, we'll actually run promotions. So we'll actually go into our system for a property, so you have a property in Idaho Springs,
right.
And we'll put you on a 10% promotion.
Sure.
And what that does, it replaces the name of your property, and it puts in October promotion, 10% off, quick getaway or something like that. And people follow that, look at that, and they'll actually book that property. So we've done that for a number of properties. Now we're in October. For a number of properties today, and they've gotten a number of bookings. So we went from an empty calendar the last week of September, right?
Yeah.
And now we're at half on some, and even more than half on others, where we didn't have anything.
Wow.
So you want to look at that promo strategy. Second thing we do is when we put it on promo, so iTrip is a franchise.
Sure. There's
13 in Colorado, and there's 113 in the country, in Canada. It goes to a national blog, an iTrip travel blog. So, and people look at that, and it gets distributed to about 40,000 people. So people will look at that when they want to take a trip, and hey, I can get a deal in Denver, I can get a deal in, outside of, in the immediate foothills. When was the last time we've been to Colorado? So you want to get that too. So it is, and those are known bookers. Those email addresses are for people.
Flyer
program. You got it. They've booked with iTrip for quite some time, and now that you put them on a specials board. So it really works out.
Okay, nice. That's cool. So what I hear you saying is, rather than just sort of accepting the shoulder season for what it is, you guys really press in and try to squeeze everything you can out of the slower seasons. Yeah.
We strive to have our properties get booked above the market rate.
Very good. Very good. I think those are really the questions that we have to cover today. I wish we had sort of a live forum where we could see what other questions people had, but we'll certainly be watching the comments below. So if you guys have additional questions, just comment, and we'll get answers to you guys. And Bryan, you kind of alluded to me in our conversation before we got started here that there may be one other opportunity that you've been sort of noticing, or a potential opportunity you see. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, concerning ADUs, I think that's one of the best strategies a young or someone in transition or someone who thinks they've outpriced themselves in the Denver market can afford a home. So what an accessory dwelling unit is it's a finished basement, it's a carriage house, it could be an A-frame apartment over a garage, but they're separate from the home. But you can run a short-term rental permitted in the city of Denver. And what that does in this market, it'll cover your mortgage, it'll cover your taxes, it'll cover the utilities of the entire property. Right. It's that good. This market is that good. I did a pro forma recently for a prospective client down in Cherry Creek. She has a one-bedroom finished basement. Mm-hmm. Has a kitchen, has a bathroom, stand-up shower, and I actually had her grossing $35,000 her first year. Wow. And first year, that's where you build momentum. So a short-term rental program is always about getting those first bookings, getting them 5-star reviews, and you're building that momentum. Second year is where you make all the money. Okay, so her revenue first year was 35. She's going to do much more than that second year. Okay, and then and if you were looking at buying a house for $350,000, $400,000 in the Denver market, you're really not going to find something or anything with good quality. Or you're going to have to put just as much in to pay for it, to make it to what you want to live in. But don't be afraid to look at a $600,000 home. Mm-hmm. Because with an ADU, you can actually afford that plus because you have that revenue coming in. Okay, I would actually offer these two pieces of advice too for someone who's actually looking at an ADU. You definitely want to have, or any short-term rental, which I didn't mention before, you want to have an interior designer take a look at it. Not only will they make the place look better, they can actually tell you what you don't need, which save your money. Mm-hmm. And they would have avenues where you can buy other things at lower cost than you usually would. So I would definitely tap into an interior designer. We use an excellent one called Interstani Design, and they're very good. And she has worked with a couple of our clients, and they are very pleased with the quality she got at the price she did. So I would actually work with an interior designer. And then last, I would actually work with a property manager, but just not a property manager. Work with a full service, someone who's local. And there's a number of us who are local. And you want to work with a local just from the perspective. Sure. When you call, you want the owner or someone very close to the owner answering the phone. Right. Okay. Right. If you're working with someone who's big and national, quite frankly, you're just a number. You might as well be calling the IRS. It's not going to work out. Okay. You want someone to actually have skin in the game. You know, my wife and I own this company, so we're not going anywhere. We'll always answer the phone. So that would be my best piece of advice.
All right. Well, Bryan, thank you so much for taking the time to come in and shoot this video with me. I'm really excited to get this information out. Like I said at the beginning, this is a trend that I've been watching happening in part through our conversations and in part through watching the market and seeing our listings in Denver and the Foothill get more and more inquiries from buyers indicating that they're looking at it for short-term rental purposes. And so, yeah, guys, if you've watched this video and gotten to the end, thank you, first of all. And second, if that's you and you're interested, reach out to me. I'd love to talk to you about buying a great investment property. I'd love to bring Bryan into the process as well. If you think he's someone that you would want to work with, then we can work together, and Bryan can help vet some of that nuance of the short-term rental aspect of the property that even from our lens we may not be looking at. So we'll take great care of you guys. We'd love to hear from you, and we will be responding to comments and questions below. So feel free to engage, and our contact information will be down there below. Again, Dan Lucchesi with the Lucchesi Property Group, and Bryan Looney with iTrip Vacations Denver.
Thanks,
guys.